Welcome to this BVTV Trilogy, coming to you from the UK studios of BizVision. I'm your host, Malcolm Gallagher. I love the fact that guests are happy to come back to BVTV and chat with me again, but I usually allow some time between appearances as my guests are also very busy. But my returning guest today has so much for you that is of the moment that I just had to try and persuade him to come back early. Fortunately, he said yes. So let's go meet the author of this book, Create in a Flash, Dr. Roger Firestien. Hello, Roger.
Hello, Malcolm. It's wonderful to be back.
Oh, yes. I'm already energized, Roger, and we haven't even got into this. Yeah. Now, you're an expert on creativity and innovation, as we found out on your last visit. But for this trilogy, I want to take you on the thoughtful deep dive with you in these two vital areas, especially creativity. Yes. So for episode 1, I'd like your thoughts, please, on the comment by many leaders that they think creativity in their business is being stifled by the work from home or the hybrid model. Yet that's the model employees want, or they will walk, as has happened recently with what's been called the Great Resignation in the US. How can this perception of lack of creativity be overcome? Is it something to do with a lack of understanding of the intangibility of creativity in its foundational phase?
Well, first off, the idea that people are less creative from working at home is absolute, total balderdash. Right? It is not true at all. And let me ask you a question. Malcolm, when you're working, where do you get your best ideas? So, for example, just through the day, where are you getting your best ideas? Don't me to put you on the spot.
Yeah, in the morning with my form of meditation, and in the evening for the bottle of wine with my wife.
There you go. Okay, so you did not say in the office. Okay, so I've as you can see, we've done some books there. My best ideas for writing and stuff are not at my university office. Okay, I get the best ideas here in my home office, where I can spend the time collecting ideas, putting things together, pretty much working at my space, at my own pace. But it's very interesting. Last week I did some work with the United States Department of Defense. And I had looked at our comments for today and our questions. And so I talked to a few folks there, and I talked to this Army captain. And here's some examples. And he took the time to write it out for me. So I'm going to kind of refer to his notes here. For the entirety of the organization, there was absolutely no conceivable way that remote work or telework would be seen as acceptable. No way. Because the armed forces thought that the perception was people would be slacking or not pulling their own weight, and the mission would fail for sure. Okay. Plus, how would they hold people accountable for their quality or productivity? Now, COVID-19 hits. The vast majority of the organization was forced to accommodate and shift to remote work. And training and education programs that were still using the traditional methods, they had to shift to online. All right. Now, meetings had to be done over video. Collaborations had to be facilitated through other platforms like Team or SharePoint. Now, here's the kicker. Not only did the mission continue successfully, but actually, in many cases, productivity increased.
Wow.
Isn't that extraordinary? And we're talking about the Department of Defense. Productivity actually increased because of remote working. Now, and some of the reasons were employees were less stressed. They didn't have to deal with getting through the gate in the morning to get onto the base. Every conceivable notion that was about not doing remote work was proved false. And so the organization became more flexible. Then, and so they said, this is working great. Okay, now pandemic is easing. Now, at the very first opportunity for people to return to work, they were requiring people to come back to work. Okay. They were chomping at the bit to get rid of the virtual, all right? And they were also chomping at the bit to send out remote training teams that would go out and train these people remotely, where they were doing it better online and virtually, okay? So it is this push back to the status quo, all right? Here's another one, and this is H-1 visas, all right? COVID forced the H-1 visa folks to shift to remote work. And the caseloads were delivered to them virtually instead of here's your caseload. They were not only being completed, but they were completed early, allowing for more to be done in the day. The cost for facilities went away, as it didn't need to fund massive buildings to do all this visa processing. So here is an example, a stark example. We have the numbers, we have the metrics that say you can be more efficient from working at home. People will still be accountable, and they're less stressed. They're able to live a more work-life balance that way. And yet we want to go back to the status quo.
Yeah.
So, yeah, extraordinary.
Thanks, Roger. Now, that was two brilliant examples to answer my question to you in episode 1. Let me remind our audience of your URL, which is, obviously, viewers, you can see on the screen behind me, but for listeners, let me spell it out. It's all the W's, Roger, R-O-G-E-R. Now, spell this correctly, please. It's Firestien, and you spell it F-I-R-E, Fire, S-T-I-E-N, rogerfirestien.com. And Roger's books, this one is called Create in a Flash, and this one is called Why Didn't I Think of That? And they're both published by Green Tractor Publishing. I wanted this thoughtful trilogy with Dr. Firestien to be understand that far too many companies do not realize the value of creativity leading to innovation. Now, once that value is understood, and that value can be created anywhere, as Roger's just been so well illustrated for you, then I believe the right culture to allow the creation of great creativity will result. So thanks, Roger Firestien. I'm looking forward to more deeper thought in episodes 2 and 3.
Thank you, Malcolm. Looking forward to it.